Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome everyone back to the latest episode of the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and I am so excited to be here with Kristi Colby, the founder of Colby Cosmetics, as well as the Makeup Box. Kristi, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, you're so welcome. I love how we know each other. We both work with the amazing and wonderful Juanita. She's my podcast producer. She helps you on social. And we probably we're late starting recording because we spent a solid 15 minutes talking about how much we love and adore her. She's so talented. But don't you love it?
Is.
Yeah. And it's just one of the great things about the world is you meet people with common energy and common goals and common ambition, and they introduce you to more. And it's just one of the beautiful things about humanity. So I'm so grateful that we get to do this.
Yes, likewise. It really is. I feel like there's a strong energy attraction between the two of us immediately. She knew that there would be too. So I'm just so excited to continue to get to know you and be able to share a little bit more about myself on your podcast.
100%. I mean, she absolutely called it. This is going to be an absolute delight. I'm already smiling ear to ear. So I would love to just kick us off with an episode intention for everyone. Kristi, for us, this is for us to kind of sit in this intention and honor it as we have our conversation, for the listeners to kind of know what to expect and to kind of keep that intention in their eyes, ears, and hearts as they listen. But this one is all around inspiring listeners to create confidence by defining what beauty means to them.
Yes.
So I am so excited to have a conversation around all things beauty. Your perspective is one that I'm really excited to dive into. I also like to start each episode by just reading a little bio that I like to pull from online and write and give some little fancy bio, and then I'll let you talk a little bit more about yourself. So here we go, team. Kristi is the owner and founder of the Makeup Box, a makeup service company based in San Diego, California, as well as Colby Cosmetics, which is what we're here to talk about today. Kristi's been in the beauty service industry for over 20 years, specializing in bridal, commercial, editorial, and lifestyle purposes. Her inspiration for the brand Colby Cosmetics come from her years of experience behind the scenes as a makeup artist. She wanted to create a brand that supports individuals' ability to create their own confidence through authentic tools and beauty products that are essential to your everyday makeup routine. Colby Cosmetics products are designed with the goal to simplify people's routines and to help them feel beautiful. Being a busy mom herself, it was important for her to give simple routines because she knows firsthand that us moms only have so much time and are always on the go. Therefore, she's created products that are multi-purpose, long-wearing, vegan, and good for your skin. One other thing that we'll talk about it later, but that I just wanted to plop into this bio is that you are also a mentor to the school district all around sort of that younger age beauty and being a mentor in that space, which so many of us listening have kids that are on TikTok watching makeup tutorials, have a 97-step skincare routine already. I'm like, girl, it's got to be a product in, product out at this point because there's no more room on your desk. And she's 11. So I'm so excited to have your perspective on all things beauty. Before we just dive into all my fun questioning, you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, Kristi, as the human, besides the badass businesswoman?
Well, yes, of course. I would love to share a little bit more about myself. So I am a SoCal native. I grew up here in Southern California. If anybody is familiar, obviously the Los Angeles County, everybody is familiar with LA. I'm actually from the Valley. It's a little small town, not small town. It's a big town, but I consider it small compared to Los Angeles, Simi Valley. And so I grew up there until I was about 13. And then I moved to San Diego. My mom and my grandmother were in business together, and they were doing the long distance back and forth trying to run their business. And they just decided, we should move you to San Diego. And so at that point, I moved to San Diego, and I've been here now for over 30 years. And I would never move back to Simi Valley. San Diego's my home. Yeah. So I come from a background of beauty pageants. So a lot of people want to know, where did you get started? And how did you get into this? So my mom and my grandma ran a very successful beauty pageant business. If you competed in beauty pageants in Southern California in like the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. You likely knew of my family system, the California Gold Coast system, and we were actually featured on the TLC Toddlers and Tiaras TV show. So,
No way.
so I competed in pageants. I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I stepped away and I really did a lot of behind the scenes with my family. I helped them. I was considered a hostess. They even gave me a banner that I got to wear. And
Ooh.
I would help them with the beauty pageants. I would help them set up. I would crown the winners. I would engage with their current winners, like their royalty, as they would call it, and just really kind of be a representative of their pageant system. It was too much of a conflict of interest for me to compete in their systems. So if I ever did compete, it would just be like outside of their system in like the city organized beauty pageants.
Oh my gosh.
But
This is a
little,
whole world that I know nothing about. I can't wait.
I don't know if you really need to know much about
Oh, I do.
us.
Oh, I
It's
do.
crazy. But, it was fun, my grandma, she got into it because she worked in Simi Valley for the Chamber of Commerce, and she was a part of the board, and she would run, alongside with some of the board members, they would, direct the beauty pageants in the city. And my mom got into it in the '70s and she became Miss Simi Valley. My mom was drop dead knockout. My mom and my grandma have since passed away.
Oh,
So
so
it's really kind of
sorry.
cool to be able to talk about their legacy and share a little bit
Yeah.
about them because they live dearly in my heart, obviously, every single day. And we're always very supportive of me being a makeup artist. And actually, we're the ones that saw that I had this talent, this natural creative talent, and stepping away once I was like a teenager, helping them so much with the beauty pageants. They're like, we want to set you up for success too.
Oh,
So why don't
love that.
you start doing makeup? That I would literally invest all of my time and energy at the mall, shopping, makeup, kind of like your daughter. I was obsessed
Yes.
with makeup at like 11 and 12 years old because I was introduced to it at such a young age.
Yes.
Um, and it was so much fun for me, although I look back on some of my first, days in the makeup world, and I'm like, "Whoa, I look like a ghost in that picture
Well, it was
from
also like what, the 90s and 2000s?
it
How
was
old
the
were we?
'90s."
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So,
and
give
so,
yourself some grace. You were probably very on trend.
well, I don't know about the white face, but yes, I was on trend. My mom was very conscious of the trends as well, and she was like, "We're not letting you go get your eyebrows waxed, like, or you're not going to pluck your eyebrows. We're taking you to get them done professionally." And I am so
R
grateful for that because that little skinny eyebrow trend is not the business. I have
right?
friends that were victims of that trend, and
And they've
I'm
never
like, "Oh my
recovered, right?
no, they never did." And thank
No.
God for really good microblading, but I have
I
some
was just
friends that
thinking the
had
same thing.
yeah. I mean, I have had some friends that have just really went through it with their brows, and so anyways, it's just kind of funny to see how that's evolved itself and thank God evolved away. I don't think that the skinny eyebrow trend is gonna come back anytime soon.
God, I hope not. I'm not ready. It's still too soon. It's for
It's
all of
still way
us
too
born
soon.
in the '80s who lived it in the '90s, it's
Yeah.
still way too soon.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
so
love
the
this. And
pageant
you're a
systems
mom?
were huge. My family, they would have thousands of contestants, all through Southern California. We would actually host them at the Disneyland Hotel, which was a big deal.
Whoa.
And they had celebrities compete. So some big names like Michelle Pfeiffer and Marquisa Haggerty would compete. That was in the '80s. They would get big modeling agencies and acting and talent agencies to come in and judge. So it was a great
Wow.
resource for people if they were trying to get into the business, to be able to have access to being discovered. So yeah, my mom and my grandma really did leave quite the legacy. It's hard to say that it sadly it kind of evolved into more of like this fake pageant world. If you look it up
Mm,
now, like when we were on Toddlers and Tiaras, I think it kind of didn't I hate to say it, but it was not the same in the '80s and the '90s. It evolved itself into this like these fake teeth and spray tans and big hairdos. And as it started to move in that direction, I slowly started to see, this is really not the world I want to be a part of. And I had already learned so much about makeup that I wanted to grow even more. So I was able to step
interesting.
into doing other things like working weddings, building my business here in San Diego. I worked for Mac Cosmetics. And then, of course, slowly as I built up my wedding business and private clients here in San Diego, I evolved and now I do makeup education.
I love
So,
this. Okay. I
yes.
want to take a quick pause and I'm not letting us leave this beauty pageant world quite yet because I am just a curious cat over here. So the first thing that comes to mind is that like the difference between, what you were saying is sort of the original, what it was like to really discover beauty, and then what the toddlers and tiaras sort of era of like the big hair and the fake teeth and the fake eyelashes and all that. What was the beauty standard when you were growing up around that? And what was it, more like of true natural beauty, or was there like you're expected to get nose jobs? And like, I mean, what is kind of like the beauty standard and the beauty pressures that you grew up around, if you don't mind me asking, living in a pageant world?
No.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I am incredibly sensitive to natural beauty because I just think that obviously and thankfully we've kind of even evolved back into that, which I'm so grateful for. But there was a lot more natural beauty in the 80s and the 90s in beauty pageants. And however, I will say because things were evolving and it was like, oh, I want to be pretty, I want to win, I want, and so a lot of it, at least in my world, it was very much so accepted to get cosmetic surgeries. Like I
Mm.
was being told at a young age and while I was in high school, like, oh, it's okay. You can fix your nose. Like my grandma was telling me this. And I know that she meant well, but what I don't think what she realized she was doing is she was making me feel like I had to be and look a certain way in order to win a beauty pageant. And
Yes.
it really was kind of toxic for me to have to like absorb that understanding that, oh, like my nose is not pretty. And both my aunts had nose jobs, and
Oh
very
boy.
much highly infused by my grandma because my grandmother
Uh-huh.
had a certain nose. She never fixed, she was overweight. So instead she had like a big gastric bypass surgery to lose weight
Oh,
and be thin.
really?
Yes. And so for us, it's like, I was always very lucky, very active. Like I never had any weight gain issues,
Yeah.
until I hit my 20s. But when I was young, yeah, I really did take on that energy of like, oh, I'm not pretty enough to win. And I would compete in pageants and I wouldn't win. I would get like second runner up, third runner up. And that was really good actually, but that
That
wasn't
feels
good
really
enough.
good to me. Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't good
Yeah.
enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
It's like,
just
oh,
to
well,
like,
maybe you'll win if, maybe you'll
right.
win if you do this.
And it's
And
not
so,
a competition based on performance, right? Well, that's not true. I know there are performance aspects to it, but it's not like, I grew
yes,
up riding horses, which was like a very individual sport. And like, but it was like not just based on how I looked. It was like, or you like win a soccer tournament, or, it's based on performance, where this is literally just from what I understand. And please correct me if I'm wrong, because I know there is talent portion to it, but like, how do you look? Are you prettier than the other person? Am I right? Am I
exactly. And
wrong?
I just, no, no, I mean, and that, my family's beauty pageants, they had different categories.
Cool.
They would judge you on your attire, your
Mhm.
beauty, and those were the two biggest, like attire, beauty, and personality and
Mhm.
modeling. And then other organizations would have interview portions. And my
Mhm.
family decided not to do that because it would have just been an extra day of time with how they were creating their events and
Sure.
scheduling their events. So they opted more into like the modeling side of things because that's what they wanted to focus on. But I would
Yeah.
compete in pageants and I would do interviews and I would nail my interviews. And so that's really what hiked me up there. And that I would be competing against 30, 40 girls and I'd get second runner up. And it
Yeah.
was like you look at my interview scores and I just was through the roof
Crushed
with my
it.
and they loved interviewing me.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I just think that like nowadays, luckily, and we can get more into this, but I feel like thankfully I do feel like it's back to what's your confidence and how authentic are you and how are you able to speak? Because if you don't have a personality or you don't have anything to say or have a voice, then you're not that interesting. I hate to say it. Like,
Couldn't agree more.
and
Yeah.
we recognize that now, thank God.
Thank God. Thank
But
God.
then it was like there was like a mix, you know what I mean? And I was unfortunately just kind of wrapped up into that mix. And that's why I finally like I was pretty wise in my teens, seeing everything that I saw and kind of like being like, you know what? No, I don't like the way this makes me feel. I'm gonna be behind the scenes. I'm gonna be the one being the hype girl. I like to do
Ye
makeup. I want to hype you up. I want to I had the feeling that that gave me to be able to make other people feel look beautiful. Like these little girls that would compete and they look in the mirror and they see how dolled up they look and they just love it. It's like that was where it was that's the feeling I was going for. I don't need other people telling me I look good, and I was like, "No, thank you."
I mean, first of all, can we just like pause for a second that like you were born into this beauty world with beauty standards, and obviously you had like amazing female mentors around you. The fact that your mom and grandmother like we're setting you up for business. They had these clear visions. Like I don't mean to be cut and dry by that at all. But what I want to honor is the fact that you were able to be like, First of all, when I think about the teenagers that I know, because I have teenagers now and I see all these girls, and I remember being a teenager, all you want to do is fit in. You want to look exactly the same as everybody else. You want to fit in. You want to have the exact same trending sweatshirt and backpack and leggings and whatever it
Yeah.
may be, the shoes. And you were like, actually, I don't, and these standards, like in this whole fitting in and being judged for it doesn't feel right to me. And I actually like, this doesn't serve me. I'm going to go do something else. I have these amazing, amazing mom and grandmother to support me in it. But like, I also want to hype girls up to find their own beauty in middle school and high school. That is
Yeah.
profound,
Yeah.
truly remarkable. Ugh.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's really interesting because as I'm developing my business, my cosmetic line, and finding my story and finding my way with it, I've had so many people be like, "Kristi, you have the best story," but for whatever reason, piecing it all together and being able to find my way and feel confident to like express and share that story has been a little, I guess, like tricky for me. I don't know why I've been in resistance with it. Probably because I had this backstory that is very profound, but it was also like I don't like love it, and I've also been so detached from it for so long. Like so much has happened since then, and I've moved so far away from it. So drawing a lot of this back into my space right now has actually been really healing for me, if I'm
oh,
being honest,
I love
because
hearing that.
it's been something that I dealt with even through like romantic relationships and not feeling like pretty enough, or like if a guy I was
Mhm.
dating didn't want to like be with me for the long term, I'd be like, it's my nose, or you know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
yep,
so
totally.
stupid, but it's like that
Every
inner
woman can relate
voice.
to that. Every
Yeah.
woman can relate to that. They all have their version of "It's my nose." I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
thank you so much for saying that. That's so honest and it's so relatable. Oh my
It's so
gosh.
I know, and it's the truth. I would be so heartbroken, and I'd be like, "What's wrong with me?" You
Yeah.
know? And but you know what? It's just I get it now as I'm a little bit older, and now I have my husband and my son, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, all that stuff doesn't matter." It's like so different as you evolve and you grow.
Sure.
Um, and being able to be a mentor in high schools and see these girls and hear the conversations and really just kind of sit with them. I mean, it's not even just me teaching them how to do their makeup. It's me being there to listen and support them and tell them, you know what? You're fine. And maybe just be this outside person who's not
Yeah.
directly close to them on the day to day to tell them, you know what? It's okay if he doesn't want to like text you back, you know?
Oh, amen.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I promise you, there's so many bigger things in front of you that you have waiting for you. So don't focus your time and energy on it because it doesn't matter. You're
Yeah.
gorgeous. You know what I mean? Because they get so insecure, or what should I say? Or, oh my gosh, now he's going to the prom with this guy, this girl. He didn't ask me. He asked this girl. Like I hear all of it.
I
And I'm like, who
know.
cares? Go with your friends. You're going to have way more fun with your friends anyways.
Totally, but then also, don't you remember being a teenager and that being, like, absolutely,
Yes.
like, devastating? I don't know if it's
Yes.
just the rite of passage, but they're so lucky to have you to be like, "Wait a minute, just to be clear, like, I am, like, a beauty expert. I, like, hold the gold standard for what it is to be, like to create beauty, and let me tell you right now, not only are you beautiful, but PS, this doesn't matter, like, all is
Yeah.
well. All is
Yeah.
well. You are on a trajectory for amazing things. Go to prom with your friends and have a great time."
Go to
So
prom with your friends, yeah.
yes, go dance your heart out. You don't wanna
I
dance
look
with boys
back and I
anyway.
wish I
None
went
of
with
them are
my
good dancers.
friends. I had
I
to deal
well,
with boy drama.
yes. One year I did go with my best friend, and it was an absolute blast, and she went to a
Yeah.
different school, and I went to hers, and she went to mine, and we had the time of our life. We never stopped dancing. We had so much fun.
Oh, good.
Hey, busy moms and aspiring entrepreneurs. If you want to learn how to build a high income business in just 20 hours a week so you can enjoy more time with your kids, all while transforming yourself from overwhelmed to confident in just 90 days, then you need to check out my masterclass. I'm Betsy, a busy mom of four and a business coach obsessed with helping women just like you build thriving businesses that fit your life, not the other way around. After 20 years in marketing and building my own nonprofit and e-commerce business, I know exactly what it takes to go from overwhelmed to empowered. That's why I created my self-paced digital masterclass designed to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. So whether you're starting from scratch or recalibrating an existing business, my masterclass will take you from stuck and overwhelmed to simplified, organized, confident, and clear in your next steps.
If you want to learn things like how to create a successful business that aligns with your personal life and brings you happiness, if you want to learn how to acquire the confidence and strategies needed to overcome self-doubt and thrive in your entrepreneurial journey, if you want to attain the knowledge and tools to take control of your business finances with confidence, if you want to gain essential skills and strategies to effectively promote your business with confidence and ease, and if you want to discover practical strategies and systems to manage the challenges of entrepreneurship, then you should absolutely check out the 5-section self-paced digital masterclass from the Female Founders Academy. It's just $597. Plus, every course comes with free worksheets to guide you through. Learn on your own time, at your own pace, in the privacy of your home. So if you want to learn how to build a high-income business in just 20 hours a week so you can enjoy more time with your kids, all while transforming yourself from overwhelmed to confident in just 90 days, then visit writeyourstory.co/FFA-courses or click the link in the show notes below.
So,
That's the
okay.
best.
So I want to then pivot us. So thinking about what the beauty standards were back then, like it was probably more natural beauty. If I think about the 80s, it was like big hair
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe cheekbones, or I'm not totally sure. But then if I
Blue
think about what,
eyeshadow.
oh, yes, absolutely.
Blue
Highlighting.
eyeshadow, hot pink cheeks, red and hot pink lips, and then yeah, big hair. And
Oh my God.
that's just evolved, I guess, but there was a point in the pageants that they brought in more of like natural looks. Like they had like they call this like the natural beauty contest, like a
Oh,
contest or
neat.
division.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I liked that because there were a lot of parents that wanted to compete their kids, but they're like, I'm not putting my kid in all that stuff. So I was like, well, bravo for you. And you want
Yes.
your daughter to have this experience of just at least feeling pretty and feeling maybe it's going to draw some confidence in for her to feel a
Yeah.
little bit more like, those little girls that are shy or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I love
there
that.
was that. Yeah, I liked
What
that
were
part of the pageants. Like what that did for me, it gave me so much confidence.
Oh, that's really cool. And it's for someone who was not in the beauty pageant world, I would not have been brave enough. So kudos to you for being brave enough. I don't know if I would have been able to draw confidence from that. But then again, I drew a lot of confidence from sports. So maybe it's like a similar situation, just different category.
Yeah.
What were some of like the body beauty standards? Was it like teeny tiny waist? Are they like, I feel like we've seen the evolution of body standards in we're both 43 in our 43 years be all sorts of things. But like, I'm curious as to like, what was the impact for body standards on you growing up?
Yeah, there was definitely an impact for the body standard. And also too, like my mom and my mom's side of the family, they're all, overweight. They had the tendency to
Okay.
be a little
Yeah.
bit on the, heavier side. And so for me, I always saw that and was like, oh, I'm not, I was just so active. My mom made sure to keep me active. I was in cheerleading. I did, I swam and I
Cool.
ran track. So I had all these things to keep me active. And so I don't know if I focused so much on my body until I got in my 20s and I put on a lot of weight in my 20s. But what I saw in like this in the beauty pageants were there were actually girls that would win that were heavier set more like heavier than other little girls. Like that was actually one thing I liked to see is that these girls would come in and they might not be like the thinner girls, but they had the dress, they had the makeup, they had the modeling, and they had the personality, and they would win.
Awesome. I
They
love
would
it.
just be and they practiced and they worked for it. And so
Yeah.
it was hard for me to say, oh, that little girl won because, but then again, there would be another little girl that would come in who would just be, like, stunning
Yeah.
naturally and just be,
Yeah.
like, on stage and she's just mesmerized and yes, she's the winner.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
so,
And
yeah, so I
okay.
don't know.
No, that's like I love hearing that because I think, when I think about what are the beauty standards now, and I think it's evolving, but I think of the girls that are like late 20s, early 30s, like sort of like I think Kim Kardashian is more our age, but like, and I mean, kudos to her for all that she's done and built. But like, I
Yeah.
think about girls that are like 30 with Botox, collagen, lip injections, like
Yeah.
trying to get the big booties, trying to get, like thinking about getting bigger boobs. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have yet to have gravity not on your side. Like, you haven't
Yeah.
even let gravity do its thing yet.
It's so
Um,
true.
It's so true. So, like, I'm curious as to what are the beauty standards that you're seeing now that you're so close within the industry and, and kind of gravitating more towards, you have such breadth with your makeup world of it, bridal and professional and all these things. Like, what are the things that you're seeing?
Well, I feel like today's standards are a mix. We're seeing like so much individuality and like heavily, and obviously everything's so heavily influenced by media and culture and personal expression. Um, I like that it's become so broad. I mean, it's why the beauty industry is so much fun for me. I don't think it's ever going to stop evolving, and it's moving more towards embracing like diversity, self love, natural beauty, women who are, on they're curvier, like it doesn't matter what your body type is. And you're finding like heavier set models now and they're killing
Yes.
it. And they're
I'm
everywhere. You see
so
their face
happy.
everywhere. Where it's like, and I mean, again, I love that we also are embracing like all the different cultures and just like
Mhm.
imperfections on the face, like heavily
Mhm.
freckled faces.
Mhm.
Um, girls that have, I don't even know, I should have looked this up, but there's like
That's
some sort of
okay.
skin discoloration thing. There's a couple like supermodels that have like the skin discoloration. And
Yes.
I'm just always like, and they're stunning. And it's just like,
Gorgeous.
it's what how you perceive yourself that is going to
Mhm.
come out. You know what I mean? That's going to shine. And so you see the confidence that they radiate. And it's just so authentic that like people can't help to stare at you and be like, you are
Totally.
gorgeous. And
Yes.
all of the brands, the beauty brands can't wait to work with them because they want a little bit of that in their brand. They don't want it to be so, one stop shop, like you're getting
Yes.
this, blonde, brunette, tall, thin, tan, green eyed,
Right. Cookie
look.
cutter kind of look.
Yeah.
Right. God, it
So
is just such an amazing example how beauty absolutely is from within and it shines out. If you can hold that confidence, if you can shine your light from the inside out, if and like, being a girl, like if you dress yourself the way that makes you feel beautiful, you accessorize yourself the way that makes you feel beautiful. You do your makeup in a way that makes you feel beautiful and it's all different, but the fact is when you feel beautiful, like to your point, the world can't help but stop and notice.
it's so true. And like I wish that my mom and my grandma were a little bit more, they shined a little bit of that onto me. They were more like, no, you can be perfect and you can be
Yeah.
successful. And
Yes.
so there was like, okay, well,
Right.
I'm not perfect, but yes, I
No.
can be successful. So,
Yes, but and I think everyone our age can relate to that, right? That feels like a very generational thing to say that you can be perfect. There are beauty standards that I expect of you, and you can be successful in order to do so. You just have to work harder, 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 harder. And that has put
mhm.
us all in therapy.
It is all literally like waking up every
Yes.
single day. Okay, let me get my oxygen mask. Let me, breathe
Yes.
into this
Yeah.
before I embark on this day. And then, I mean, I didn't
Yes.
know felt that way already, but then it's like, then you integrate being married and having a child and like having to navigate other people's lives with it. It's like, oh, how do I wear all these hats and be calm and easy,
Oh, 100 calm and easy, but also perfect and
but also
everything.
perfect and
I feel
poised?
right, but also perfect and poised. Yes. And yeah, everything's fine. I'm like, actually, my nervous system is shot because on the outside, I'm like a duck, my legs are just like under the water. But on top, I'm like, no, everything's cool. But it has taken me years to unwind that. And it has been my greatest gift to have life kind of implode all around me with my divorce because I finally gave up on being perfect. I was like, forget
Yeah.
it. I tried and look what happened. And, it wasn't just my divorce, it was everything in my life that I was trying to do perfectly. And when the most important thing to me fell apart, then I was like, well, fuck it. Excuse my language, but like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to embrace what makes me me and rewrite my own rules. And that is truly like the whole impetus behind write your own story is that like this whole notion of main character energy is like what drives you and what fuels you from an authentic standpoint and what is the feeling that you want to feel each day and not what do you want to achieve. I mean, don't get me wrong, we
Yes.
all have goals. I have so many goals, but I'm more now connected to how do I want to feel doing them and it has made life infinitely more enjoyable.
Oh
I don't
my
know, do you
gosh.
feel
And
that way at all?
I'm like, I feel like I'm kind of stepping into a little bit of that myself right now because I have spent so much time. And then in the last 3 years, so much has happened. My world has completely changed for the better, but also like
Yeah.
really has turned everything upside down. Like it's, and so it's just hard for me as I'm navigating all these changes, like, my getting married, having a baby, buying a house,
Yes. Yes.
and then starting a new business. And then, okay, now I got to navigate all these things. Living in San Diego, where we live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, and just trying to like keep afloat, financially. So it's just like,
100%.
and yeah, it's like I ask myself every day, okay, how do you want to feel today? Like that's become
Mm.
kind of like a new thing, I would say, over the last like 6 months, because
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that for myself. I was just getting up, going. And then by the time my head hits the pillow every night, I'm like exhausted, where I
Yes.
have, and now I would say since I've shifted a little bit and I've brought some of that energy back to me and have set, asked myself, how do I want to feel today? I actually
Yes.
check in with myself now through the day. So
Mhm.
I get to that point at the end of the day, go, oh, it's not so hard. I can actually go to bed feeling like peace and like I'm going to gently put my head on the pillow, not just like plop,
Just not plump, and then wake up in
Yeah.
the middle of the night thinking of all the things you need to do the next day. 100.
Yeah.
Yes, it has literally changed my life to behave this way, and I couldn't agree
Yes.
more. It makes you more present to be able to check in and be like, "I promised myself I would feel this way." And don't get me wrong, like, life twists and turns, bumps happen, but do you find your speed of recovery for you're sitting in traffic and it's so frustrating and you had 99 things to do today. Now I'm like, "Well, it's literally out of my control."
It's
So,
out of your control. Nothing you can
yeah,
do. The more
nothing to
we
do.
release control, I think that this happens more for us as we mature into
Yes.
our 40s, because that release of control really hasn't started to really shift for me until this last year. And luckily, having some beautiful friends of mine to always shine that light on that, like, okay, you have
Mhm.
no control over this. Most of my friends' kids are in high school, and I'm raising an almost 3 year old, and so I've
Hmm.
seen them and I've watched them, and they just have so much wisdom to share with me. It's like, yeah, we don't have any control. So the more we
Yeah.
can work to release that control, it makes us feel better internally. Then we can do all these other things for ourselves that just helps us radiate our best self each day.
100%. And then that goes back to the beauty conversation of being like,
Yeah,
when you are radiating your best self, that is when you're the most beautiful version of yourself.
exactly. Exactly.
And
But
sometimes, yeah, no,
it's
please go
hard.
ahead.
It's
Yes.
not easy some days, and it's
No.
okay.
Yes, 100%. Sometimes my best self is taking care of myself and, getting in cozy sweats and laying in bed and watching movies and with my, if I want to bring my laptop out and do a little bit of work, but like I have a cold. And so like, I had a meeting before this and I have this, but everything else, I've been pretty horizontal today, just prepping away, just taking care of me. And that is
Yeah.
the most beautiful version of me today.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and I love hearing that because I feel like you're shining some grace on me. Some of
Oh
the,
gosh, can we all get some grace?
yeah, and like we just got to do that more for ourselves. And I
Mhm.
have, highs and lows, we all do, but the more I'm in this like kind of feminine energy, I guess, with myself, instead
Yes.
of not being in this like supercharged masculine energy, which I can easily be. I have been my whole
Same
life. My
girl.
husband
Same girl,
reminds
same.
me, you don't need
Hmm.
to go crazy. You don't need to get it all done today, Kristi.
Ah,
But
what a good man.
he's a great man. I'm so lucky. I had to kiss a lot of frogs before I got to him. But
Well, that gives me hope that it's worth it.
yes, yes. A lot of twists and turns in my life, but and I wish I spent more time trusting the universe, but I just couldn't. I pushed a lot. But
Yeah.
now it's about the path of least resistance for me, and I remind myself, okay, what's that path of least resistance today with your emotions, your control, and it always brings me back to being centered. So,
100%. Okay, so then that makes me curious about when I think about a million things. But when I think about the beauty industry and it is such a crowded category,
hmm
um and okay, so according to my research in 2023 the beauty industry generated $625 billion in revenue and cosmetic surgery alone was $57.67 billion in 2023. Like, so you're in this beautiful place individually as you're, kind of relinquishing control, letting each day be, and then you are in a battlefield comes to mind, but that is not the truth. Like, there's room for everybody, but you are in a category that is so immensely crowded,
hmm
not only from a cosmetic standpoint, but then in like subsectors of like wedding, professional, like all of that is all then individually crowded. Then in San Diego, where it's like, I don't know. And so what brings you the courage and like what brings you the peace in your business to keep showing up each day in such a crowded place that lets you still feel authentic in the way that you show up and how you do what you do?
That's a really good question. Yes, I am in a very saturated industry. I think that. I have a very high level of confidence of how far I've come and what I've put in to get to where I'm at, and just my experience and my knowledge. I've been was really, really lucky actually when the wedding industry was shifting about 13 years ago or so. It was becoming more popular to hire hair and makeup for your weddings. It wasn't as
Mhm.
popular before. And if you
Interesting.
talk to people, like, I mean, I remember when I got my first marriage in my 20s, I got married. I had to find a girl at a mat counter, and that was like a luxury to have her come and do my makeup for my wedding. Nowadays, it's like you hire in a team and you have all of your girls join you that morning. So that was becoming really popular in San Diego. And my partner who I work with who does the hair, she and I just
Yeah.
met and connected and were able to kind of step into developing a team, and we became instantly popular. We were featured in magazines. And so um I feel like because I have so much of that, like, maturity in my industry, that I know, like, what I'm doing, and there's definitely days where I'm like, "Oh, like, who do I think I am?" Like, now there's all these younger girls, 10 years younger than me, doing the same thing and killing it on social media. I don't have this, like,
Yeah.
massive following. So, there's definitely a lot of competition, but I think that keeping away from thinking that they're your competition and actually treating them as if they're your peers and like, wow, I can learn from you too. And keeping a very positive, like, way of engaging with them on social media has really allowed me to see, like, nope, I'm in my own lane. It doesn't matter what they're doing. You can use it as inspiration. It's also helped me refine what it is that how I see myself and how I define myself in the industry, because I'm
Ooh.
not in a space of wanting to like mass produce services anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a mom now. I have only so much time for for my personal life and for my work. So I have to balance it all out, and powerhousing every weddings every single weekend is just not where I'm at now. And
Totally.
although that's I'm still doing it because I it's very challenging to step away from that, but I'm like, okay, what am I going to do to step away from that? And so luckily I fell into teaching and mentoring. That just fell into my lap. I was extremely lucky for that. But how am I going to even build more off of that? So that's where people go, well, you're developing a cosmetic line, but you're in such a big, like, saturated industry. I said, yeah, but what I do is so unique. It is so
Yep.
niche. Like, you don't see very many makeup artists going into becoming an educator for high schools and creating a program to teach girls how to do makeup and maybe even inspire them to become makeup artists. Because I didn't go to school. I didn't go to cosmetology school. I literally just started doing makeup because I was self-taught. I was inspired to do it. I had a few mentors along my way, and then I just figured it out. But now I have all
Amazing.
these tools and all these modalities. I mean, I could be sharing this with other people. So that's actually what I do now in the high schools, and I'm also working to create my own program to help others become makeup artists, to be able to educate them to learn how to
S-
become an artist, set up their business, because I've learned everything.
Yes. Oh my God.
So,
God, I am so obsessed with this. I'm literally so obsessed with this. I can't even. No wonder Juanita was like, "You guys need to hang out." I'm like, my mind is actually exploding right now. I mean, amazing. Kudos to you. But this is another really common theme on the show, and common is not to devalue it; it is to highlight it. To be like, yes, the women that I speak to understand the power of the pivot, and that you're like,
yeah,
I'm a mom now. I don't want to be every weekend doing, however many weddings I can book on a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday. Like
yeah,
I want to be home and I'm going to be at soccer games, in just a year or two or whatever. Maybe even now, these little nuggets playing soccer is just too cute. But, but my point being is that you realize that you want your life to look different and you have the ability to pivot and make it your own. And you know that you have the power and the control to, theoretically pick up the pen and write your own story for your life. So you've
yeah.
taken these life skills and these life experiences. And the other thing that I continuously see on this show that is so inspiring and that you are absolutely doing and puts you in the crowd of queens is that
I like that.
women who are using their natural gifts and talents are the most successful and the happiest women that I speak
Yeah,
to. So you have these natural gifts and talents and life experiences. And instead of being like, no, I'm going to figure out social media and I'm going to just compete with all these cute little young girls, you're like, no, I'm going to use my gifts in my very own unique way. And it is going to do nothing but serve you. And it already has. I'm obsessed.
yes, thank you so much. It's definitely been quite the journey. I mean, I remember sitting during COVID. the 2020 and my business completely falling apart. Well, it felt like it was falling apart. So did
Sure.
everybody else. I wasn't
Right.
alone. But sitting there being like, I cannot rely on this for the rest of my life. Like,
Mhm.
first of all, I have physical injuries, and your body really just start to break down on you when you hit your late 30s or early 40s, especially if you have a very physical job.
Yes.
And so all of these things were coming to fruition, and then my mother passed away, and was like, how am I supposed to have time to process? I mean, luckily, COVID provided me that time. When my mother passed away, I had the time to be able to grieve and process and manage, but it was also another eye-opening experience where I'm like, my personal life is taking a back seat because I give so much. Because
Mm.
weddings are a lot. When
Oh,
you're
I can only
and
imagine.
in order to make an income to survive in this industry, you have to do weddings. If you're a makeup artist, you got to do weddings. It's just,
Interesting.
unless you're working in television commercial, and then that's another whole story because those are long days as well too.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah, so it's like I just knew that there had to be something, and I was asking and praying for the universe. I'm like, please just give me the understanding of what it is I'm going to do. And at that point, like mid COVID, my education systems, when I was going there and I was teaching, they were like, we want you online. Can you do this
Yes.
online? Like, these students are struggling. They have nothing to look forward to because the schools were figuring out how to get the kids and be to teach the kids and give them their curriculum through online. I mean, they needed something of excitement. And so that's truly when I really started to see, okay, here we go. This is
Yes.
where this is my calling 100%.
Can we talk a little bit more? You've said multiple times, which I love, is that this whole education component just really fell into your lap. And I know you and I are both universe girlies. Um, can you tell me more about that journey and what teaching that looks like, and like what it's like talking to teens? I have 99 questions. I'm gonna try and ask one at a time.
Yes, absolutely. So I work here in the San Diego school districts. We've got San Diego Unified, and then there's South Bay, which is close to like the Mexico border, like close to Tijuana, essentially.
Okay. Cool.
And more as of late, I've been mostly in the South Bay because they get a huge amount of grant funding from the state of California,
Very cool.
and they have to disperse this funding amongst basically they have to provide after school activities for these students to come in and have a place to go while they're waiting for their parents to pick them up, or if they need tutoring. And then a huge portion of that money they invest in like art programs, after school, um, extracurricular things. They'll do like field trips and whatnot, but they invest in specific instructors to come in and teach them something niche, right? So for
Cool.
makeup is like huge. And so they knew that, and they knew that bringing me on, it's a little bit of a higher investment because I have to bring in all the makeup products, I have to bring all the tools in. So I bring everything in after school, sometimes in the morning because the kids come across the border and they're at school like an hour early before class.
Oh my
And they just come
gosh.
into the room, and I have everything set up for them, and I help them do their makeup, or I teach them how to put lashes on. I teach them how to match their foundation or different like blending techniques. Sometimes the girls like just want to come in and do their own makeup and they don't want to talk, and that's fine too.
Oh,
Um,
what a
or they just
safe
want to like
space.
ask me, how did you get into this? Like, it's always something different and fun, but it's like, so nope, it's not. There's not a lot of structure. There's no pressure. It's just fun, and it's really engaging for them. And I just feel like I'm there, and I get to boost their confidence before they go off into class, or after school before they go home and do their homework.
What a
So,
gift. I'm sure
yes.
that fills you right up to the brim, but the impact that you're
Oh,
having on these girls is also just like so amazing. Can you
I only
imagine to
get an
have a makeup
hour.
artist hype woman? I know, you're like, I'm not done with you.
I know, I only get an hour. I'm like, "Can we extend it for an hour and a half?" But that's just how the programs worked, and
Yeah.
how they contract everything. And I have slowly grown this program. I mean, it blew up online during COVID, but
Yeah.
it actually, since at COVID, they were like, well, as much as we loved having you online, it really is more impactful when you're here. So
Yeah.
I drive to each one of these schools and to, time frames that they give me. And I'm in like 7 or 8 different schools in the South Bay between
Oh
middle
my
schools and high
gosh.
schools. And all the other schools are finding out about me, and they're wanting me. So it's like I'm at the point where I've got to find somebody else to come teach it with me because I
Yeah.
can expand the amount of schools that I can take on. And they're actually also now, which is really exciting, investing in Colby Cosmetics. So I have
Oh,
recently designed
yes.
kits for the schools. that I bring into the schools. And so if I'm not there, they can facilitate the girls can play with the makeup and do their own thing with the kit that I've provided and put together for them.
Oh my god, what I mean, talk about the universe making all the stars align. I am
I know.
so happy for you.
Thank
What
you.
are what are for all of us who have moms of tweens and teens, what are some of like the angsty like beauty standards? Are you seeing girls come in and like I guess some of the okay, I don't really know how to frame my question. So let me tell you about what I'm experiencing and we can just chat that through like just two girls. So, my daughter is obsessed with skincare and, like knows every product and is constantly asking to go to Sephora. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, you know more than I do. And she's like really good at it. And which is really fun. And I think she wants to do hair or makeup like professionally. She's 11 and that's what she says she wants to do. And she just absolutely enjoys it. And her friends, that's like, they're on the phone constantly doing get ready with me videos, get unready. I didn't know you could get unready, but you can get
Oh yeah.
unready. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's the cutest thing. She's getting a, like a new room and it's all designed like her biggest thing is she wanted a bigger bed and she needed her full makeup thing. I was like, "But where shall you do homework?" She was like, "Oh, yeah." But it was all
Makeup
around
first.
makeup first and where's my cozy bed? And
She
I was
sounds
like,
just like how I was.
yes, totally. And like, I mean, it's really cool to see her. And like, what I also love is like, from what I can tell, no one in this group of girls, even in the extended network of social media and stuff, are not like, ew, oh my God, look at her, look at this. They're all kind of hype girls, which
Yeah.
I'm loving. And I hope stays that
Good.
way forever. Are you seeing that? What can we tell other moms with teens and tweens and like, what's the conversation like? What is unlocking their true beauty from inside out? How are we managing this obsession with all this fun stuff and keeping it to how you had it is like a constructive, fun, educational, this could be a career path kind of way.
Well, gosh, I feel like, I mean, social media has just completely changed the game for, the way girls are seeing and perceiving and the education that they're getting behind makeup. It's so much fun. And, I think there's some positives and negatives. I think that it really depends on what your home life is like and how your parents
Mm,
are, what kind of positive energy your parents are shining on you. I've
love
I've
that.
obviously heard all kinds of things, and I can always sense, like, when I'm working with my students, like, maybe one student that may not have the best home life, because
Mm,
whether it's like lack of confidence or lack of confidence even to talk to me. Like, I'm very engaging, so if I notice a
clearly.
student
Yeah.
not, engaging with the other students, or they're just in their own little box, or they're doing a makeup trick that they could maybe do better, and maybe they don't want to tell me because they just don't feel confident. I think that all plays a huge factor into like how they're gonna, how if whatever's going on at home, how they're gonna engage with other people. Um, and so I really like though that social media is there in a positive way for these girls to be like, oh, well, they're learning, they can learn so easily, right? So if they
Yeah.
see a look or whatever, they can easily take that look and then be like, well, I want to practice this look. And they'll show me like, do you follow her? Like, how do you do this makeup look? Um, so I don't know. It's
So
it's
cute.
it's so cute. And it's like, I don't know, and I feel like I'm there to be able to help guide them with their confidence levels, or just even being able to like understand how to like match their foundation, or just like how that translates to with the hyping up of one another. I feel like the girls, when they are sitting there
It's all good.
they I know I had it turned off. I don't know what happened.
Life is
Um
gonna life. It's all good.
I know, just like I don't know what that was. Um so yeah, so the girls, when they're working with one another and they're hyping each other up, it's very cute, because what I like to see the most is when someone's like, oh, well, you could do that, or you, if you just put a little bit more of this like this, then it'll give you like the shape of the eye. So I don't know, I feel like the collaboration part of it, like makeup and TikTok, it's really really fun. um I'm still getting into TikTok myself, so I think that
Yeah.
TikTok and Instagram have such a um different way, like, there's just different nuances to it that I'm still, like, adjusting to. So I'm not quite fully on the TikTok train. So
Same
when
girl.
yeah, I don't I'm still, the TikTok is just not really my, I'm working to get there with it, and but it's just, yeah, it doesn't feel as, authentic to me as Instagram. I feel like Instagram's more my jam. So anyways, yeah, I mean, I see a lot of different things, and it for me, I can always pinpoint the girls that are maybe not as confident. And I really do try to work with them because I want them to feel comfortable and confident in what they're doing. But there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? I've found
Yes.
it's hard because I'm such an empath, and I go,
Same.
well, how would I be with if I had a daughter? And knowing everything that I know, and it's probably good I don't have girls because I can only imagine like the highs and the lows. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I get my fix when I go to the schools and I'm with the girls, and even boys too. We have boys coming in, and
Love
I
it.
can one thing that I feel like I love is that there's these boys that you can tell they're maybe struggling a little bit with their sexuality, or they're not
Mhm.
sure, and they don't want to admit it, but they can come into an environment like with me, and it's very judgment free, and
Yeah.
I just shine so much light on like be yourself, like if and I'll see boys go from I'm not going to do that, like to halfway through the class. Oh well, maybe I can you tell me how to match my foundation? I'm like, of course, like
Yes, it sure
so
can.
it's just a very inviting space that I just feel so grateful to be a part of and be able to like mentor.
I think that is I wish that my school for my kids had that. I absolutely love that. And I think that it is such, I think as a parent, you can't help sometimes to be like, oh my God, if I have to buy another thing from Sephora or Ulta, and I mean, or they have to earn it, or we're all that's all we're giving each other for gift cards. But like it is this way that they're bonding with each other, that they're hyping each other up, and that it is such a great reminder that the greatest source of confidence still, no matter TikTok, getting unready videos, whatever it may be, the greatest source of confidence for your kids starts at home.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does. And so I remind myself of that now that I'm a parent because I mean, what I went through and what I grew up. I mean, I had so much love in my house. I don't ever want, as I speak to my mom and she's gone, I don't ever want her to think that she didn't do a great job. She did what she could with the tools that she had in her belt. But
100%.
if there was less of the perfection stuff that
Mhm.
was going on, yeah, that would have probably made me feel a lot better internally. No one would have ever have known I was going through some of that stuff though, because I was
Yeah.
just like, I just stuffed it, or I wasn't even fully aware of it until I hit my high school years because so, I was around it then at that point for so long that I'm like, okay, I can't sit here and think that I don't look good because of, the perfectionisms of beauty pageants. So,
Yes. 1,000%. And I like the other positive spin that I really like on it too is that like as you were saying, the school program set this up and you build this program to be like a truly creative expression, that
yes.
is really what makeup is to you. And I love that. I think some of us who have grown up, it was like makeup is what I put on my face to be more beautiful. But I love your perspective of like it is a vehicle of self-expression. It isn't what
Yes.
makes you beautiful. It's like the creative way that you present yourself that day, whether
Yeah.
you do a cat eye or a certain blush or I don't know, whatever it may be, that it's just this is how you express yourself today. It's not what makes you beautiful, it's how you show up.
It's just how you show up. And then too, obviously, I see some girls coming into the makeup club, and I can tell that they're so into makeup, but they don't necessarily know how to put it on properly, or
Yes.
they can
Yes.
maybe refine their techniques. And so, gosh, if I would have had that when I was in high
Oh,
school, who knows how
same.
much more successful I would have been. I mean, it doesn't matter, but they have this ability to come in here and learn how to put themselves together in a tasteful way. So when they
Yes.
step out into the real world after high school, when, whether they're going to college or they're going to get a job or whatever, there's this really solid like balance of how they're presenting themselves, and they have this understanding of how to use these makeup products. So I can only imagine, I would hope that parents are happy that they're getting this experience because they're a lot of parents don't know how to teach their kids how to do makeup. They don't even know where to start. And half the time
Same.
kids
That's
are like,
me.
"Mom, get out of here, mom. You don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing." That's how I
Yes.
was, at least. I was like, "You don't know what you're talking about. I know more than you
Yeah.
do at that
And I
age."
don't know what I'm talking about. I'm always like, Adeline, what do I do? What do I do next? She's
Yeah.
anytime I come home with something new, she's like, that is so good. Or she's like that. Actually, my best friend just had her birthday and we went on Sephora and I was like, can you just order stuff for Lauren? And so she ordered, 5 things for Lauren, who's 43. And my 11-year-old did. And then Adeline was with her dad or something. And so I went over to Lauren's house and Lauren opened it with her daughters and everyone was going nuts. Like
Oh
Adeline
my
could not have
gosh.
nailed it more. And Lauren and I were just sitting there like, and Lauren's super into makeup. I'm pretty into makeup. And like, we were so clueless, but the girls were going nuts. And like, she got the best products. I'm like, see, this girl is so educated and she knows what to do. Where here I am completely clueless.
And Sephora is like, it's so crazy to see how much Sephora's evolved and just how many brands are
Yes.
out there. I don't go into Sephora often because I usually order a lot online, but recently I went in with one of my trainees who I just recently trained somebody. She's a local esthetician, how to do makeup so she can integrate makeup services into her business. And so
Amazing.
my last session, I take her to Sephora to teach her how to navigate, how to use these products and how to buy products and how to test things. And when I was in there, I was like, I see all these little like mini beauty stations of all of these like indie brands. And I'm like, one day it's going to be me.
Yes.
I'm
Yes, it
going to,
is. Yes, it is. Did you hear that, universe? One day it's gonna be
it's going to
Colby
be, and I don't even
Cosmetics.
care if it's just the small little one. I'm fine with that. I don't need it to be, I'm not a celebrity and that's okay. I would rather just be a small indie brand, recognized for what I'm recognized for. And my story is loud and proud and it's inspiring young girls when they come in. So when your daughter goes in and shops at Sephora, she's like, my mom interviewed her and that
Yes.
girl is, she's changing the dynamic for our demographic, for our age bracket, our generation.
I can't
And
wait to buy your products and give them all to Adeline and for her to tell all of her friends and be like, my mom interviewed this makeup artist. And oh my God, I'm shooting right up to celebrity status right here with my 11-year-old girlies.
I
This is
love it. I love it.
amazing.
I'm gonna send you guys some products. I want
Oh
to
my God,
send
I'll
Adeline
die.
some
Yes,
products.
please.
Yes.
And then can we FaceTime you and will you tell
Yes,
me
yes.
tell
And
me
we
what to
can
do?
get
She
unready
probably
together. We can
Oh
get
my
unready
God.
together. I have a cleansing balm. My cleansing
You
balm is
do?
amazing. You can talk to Juanita about it. She'll tell you. It's like to me, it's a game changer. I've used all the makeup removers ever in the whole world. I tested it for 2 years. It's fantastic. I'm gonna send you guys one, and we can do an getting unready together.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm gonna go buy one of
Put
those
our
headbands.
robes on and
Yes.
our head
Yes.
towels, and we can wash our
Yes.
faces together.
Oh my God, I just got so excited. I am like, first of all, I'm genuinely so looking forward to doing this with you. And I'm being cool mom by the second. Look at me.
I
Oh,
love it.
this is so delightful. But I really self-servingly really needed that reframe of like, it's hard when your kids are constantly asked to buy more things. So, just whether it be my 9-year-old boys who just want more Legos or my 13-year-old who just wants more Apple Cash to go out to eat with his friends more and more, or my daughter who just wants more and more skincare. But this has been such a positive, it wasn't even a reframe because I love seeing these girls hype each other up, but education for me on what it really means to them because we're such a different generation and you have
Yes.
such a different experience with makeup than I do. I am just like, glowing with joy thinking about this. So thank you for that. I
Oh my
absolutely loved
gosh,
it.
absolutely. And I will have to say this generation I think is on trend with these natural authentic looks. So I'm very
Excellent.
happy about that because I did makeup at Mac in the early 2000s and that was like Britney Spears colors, like silvers and like smoky eyes and heavy lashes and so I'm just so happy that I feel like this generation gets it. They're like, "No, no, no, I want the glass skin, the natural
Mhm.
lashes and just a pop of color, easy breezy makeup." That's
Easy
they want
breezy
easy.
makeup.
Yeah. So,
Oh, I recently turned my basement into a home gym, literally all from Amazon, and I could not be more obsessed. I got an elliptical that I actually love, a reformer that I'm obsessed with and is saving my life. And all my decor that makes it not just a home gym, but feel bougie. I mean, we're talking wallpaper accent walls and a chandelier without breaking the bank. Now I have space where me and my 4 kids can all work out together. I love Amazon because I furnish or style my home in a way that feels like such a reflection of me without having to break the bank. If you're like me and get a little bit sad, okay, maybe more than a little bit sad, when there's no package at the door, then you are my people. Also, I think we need help. But until then, visit amazon.com/shop/write your own story. Or even better, click the link in the show notes and shop all my favorite finds in fashion, beauty, home decor, organization, and more. From my cart to yours, these are the treasures you don't want to miss.
yeah.
Okay, so then let's talk all about Colby Cosmetics.
Yes.
So it has I know we've mentioned that it was kind of like a natural progression, that it's now within the education component that you're doing, but like how did this even get started? What was the final push that made you like enter, as you mentioned, this incredibly saturated category to just do your own thing and niche down and do you? I'm just so thrilled for you and I want to inspire other women and I want to genuinely hear way more about Colby Cosmetics.
Thank you. So yes, I mean, Colby Cosmetics, I always had a dream of creating my own brand. And if I'm being completely honest, I was like, "Pff, we'll see if that ever happens." I just didn't have this like level of like, oh, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? I really didn't believe that. I just had a dream and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Because I've worked with so many brands and I know what's involved in the background of like, product development and
Sure.
packaging and like marketing. I was like, how am I ever going to be able to stand out? Right. But my husband and I, when we first met, we like went right into business together and we started an, I know it was crazy.
You had a business baby?
Yeah, we had a business baby. And we started an Amazon business. And he was like, my husband's like, he's a statistics guy. He works for Kaiser. This is fun for him. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's like, he sells stuff on eBay. He's like, I sold this on eBay. And guess how much I made?
Amazing.
So he's like,
Amazing.
we could start an Amazon business selling makeup. I was like,
Ooh.
how are we going to do that? He's like, you get all these makeup discounts, which I do. I have
Mhm.
connections to all the different brands and different distributors that I get super good deals on and discontinued products still available because the distributors have them.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he decided to get on Amazon and figure out how to upsell these products that were
Mhm.
discontinued or, limited access to. And that's how we literally, and so we made like $50,000 in 1 year
Oh my
just
god.
from selling other
Amazing.
people's makeup brands. It paid for our wedding.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, and so he's like, "We're gonna pay for our wedding with this." I'm like, "Okay." And so maybe not even 1 year in, he's like, we've got to get you to sell your own products." He's like, "Imagine what this would be like if we were selling our own products on Amazon." So it was just such a thought, and I was like, "Okay, let's look into it." And so yeah, we looked into it. I started testing products. I started getting things from like Korea and China and just testing and testing. It's a couple things from Italy, and that's just kind of how we just went for it. But it hasn't been easy. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
I thank you for saying that because it
It's
really never is, and everyone thinks that it looks easy. But let me tell
it's
you,
so
it is the
hard.
opposite. It's so hard. It's so
And
hard being an entrepreneur.
and
I
like
wouldn't
at each
change
other's
it.
throats all the time, like
Oh, I
every
can't
single day.
imagine with a
So
spouse. You guys are saintly to be able to do that together.
yeah, that amongst raising our child has been an interesting one. But we're figuring it out. I think the more we're learning as we go, of course.
Yeah,
And
that's how it goes.
everyone's like, how are you going to do this? It's so saturated, blah blah blah. I'm like, I finally have stepped into the understanding. I'm like, oh, this is just going to be the bonus. This is going to be the bonus of me, continuing to expand my makeup platform, which is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So, the second I kind of released it a little bit and kind of stepped into that understanding, it's just been so much easier for me. And then all these other opportunities are coming up for me with the brand. But yeah, it's not easy. The testing part of it was fun. I love testing. I love product
Yeah.
development. One day I cannot
Yeah.
wait to go into the factory and like play with the formulas, understand what all the different formulas are, and put my own formulas together.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun, and I'm so happy that I chose to do this because it's definitely that next chapter that I was asking for. Like during COVID, I was asking for more clarity on. So
Yeah.
all of this kind of showing up, it's like, okay, now I actually really feel like I understand what my next my what where this is going to take me and my purpose now, and
Yes.
why I still want to continue to be a makeup artist because I love the products. It's like at the end of the day, we all love going to Sephora. We all love filling up our
Yes.
cart and trying all the
Totally.
products.
I love trying all the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you and ask, "What do I do with it?" But I love doing all that. Because to your point, it's such a creative expression.
It
Okay,
is.
for my entrepreneur girls out there, I love that one, you were like, you reframed it in a way that took the pressure off of you and allows you to then naturally grow at its given pace. Don't you think?
Yes.
Where it's like, I feel the same way about like my podcast is my main business, but then I also sell business courses. And I'm like, there are so many business course teachers out there that are like, according to Instagram, making a bajillion dollars with their eye masks on while they fold laundry. And I'm like, why am I not there yet? And I'm like, wait, this is like your side hustle to the main part of your brand. Like, let this grow. I'm really just all of a sudden it's about me now because you just literally unlocked something for me that just was so liberating. Sorry, but I'm like,
We
you
put so
actually
much pressure on
we
ourselves.
do. We put
Well,
so much
because we
pressure
want
on
it all.
ourselves.
We're
Yeah,
driven, we want it all. Good for us, right? Like I tell my
right.
husband all the time especially when I'm like having a moment of like, okay, did you do this? Did you do that? Like, where are we at with this? And he goes, okay, I'm, and he's already doing a million things. I'm like, you know what? I have to say, would you
Yeah.
rather me just be sitting on the couch, drinking my wine and
Mhm.
eating bonbons while you work?
Right.
And I
Mhm.
just, I'm a stay at home mom and that's what I do. Like, not to say that all stay at home moms do that, but I'm not
Yeah.
a housewife. Okay.
Right.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
would you rather that or
Would you
this? And he's
rather?
like, yeah. So I was like, okay, so give me some grace when I'm like, I like to get shit done, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So when
I
things are not
know.
showing up because we're doing so much of it, but I
Yep.
have to say there is an element of like just letting it kind of go
Letting it
and
go.
just doing what you can.
Mhm.
And I have recently done this over the last week. Juanita reminds me all the time, like, this is great. We're gonna do this. And like even just this podcast working out this week couldn't
Yeah.
have been more perfect for me because it put me in a space of reminding me, like, oh, you do have a lot. Like you have
Yes.
come so far, you
You've
know?
come so far. Your story is fascinating. And I love that, like, this notion of release it and kind of let go. It's the letting go. I say this a lot because I've learned it, not from talking to all these amazing women and from the studying that I do in my own life. Um, you don't let go of the goal. You assign a feeling to the goal, right? So you don't want to feel this awful pressure, this self-inflicted pressure to be the biggest
Mhm.
thing. So you're like, no, I would rather just naturally let this unfold. But it's the letting go of the how and the when. And so
Mhm.
you show up each day with an intention to chip away at your goal, committed to how you want to feel as you work on your goal. And the how and the when, sorry, girls, we get no say. We get zero
Yeah,
say.
we
And
don't.
like, to be honest, I was kind of thinking about this today. I was like, when you hit it big or you make it viral or you do whatever, like, that's a different type of success. That's not like us. There's something so beautiful. I think it's just a common theme that's happening in my life where the best things in my life that are happening right now are happening on this like beautiful, slow trajectory versus
Yes.
this like, I pushed this giant fireball into the world and something exploded and now that's amazing. I am finding so much comfort, peace, joy, connection to the things that are just pushing slowly, burning slowly, building slowly. I'm like, that is the feeling that I want. I don't know.
Yes. It
Yeah.
will it's the path of least resistance too.
Ooh,
We
yeah.
release we release I love Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you
Mhm.
follow Abraham Hicks
Yes.
or know of,
Yes.
but she uses a lot of that path of least resistance energy within ourselves because when we're in that path of least resistance, we really have the space to allow things to flow into our life, the right things. Because if we're pushing against it, that's all we're going to get back. We're going to get
Mhm.
pushback energy. And that's
Oh,
literally how
snaps.
I
Yeah.
receive that information. Because, and I have to remind myself, because we don't always have, all of the wisdom when we're heated or we're trying to get a project done or we're wanting results from something. We're just so focused on the results
Mhm.
instead of just going, hey, you know what? Like, it feels really good to just trust, right? It feels good to
Mhm.
trust. It feels good to just know that like the right things are going to come your way, but you have to be in a space of receiving that, if you're pushing against it, you can't.
100%. And
So,
also, don't you feel as you're starting to receive things, if you're still in that push energy, you don't have the capacity to evaluate, is this
mm-mm.
right for my business?
Thank you.
Is this product right for my business? Is this formula right for my business? Is this person right for my life?
The
Is this
person,
business part right? Right. Uh,
the person.
now is when we pour the wine.
I know. I'm like, strong cocktail tonight. Gin martini up. No
I
questions
know.
asked.
Yes, 100%. But yes, my point being is that with this slow, like this open-hearted, like I'm ready to receive gives you the capacity to evaluate in any aspect of your life what works, what doesn't, what's mine, what's theirs, etc.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Um,
gosh. How many times I have gotten stuck with the client that I'm just like, oh, here we go again. And I'm like, I thought
uh,
I've graduated this, but I usually accept that client because I'm like, I make an exception or I'm like, okay. Or I'm in a space of scarcity. I'm like, well, what if I
yes.
don't get another wedding booked that day? Or what if,
Yeah.
something falls through and it's like, don't think about those what ifs. Like, you know what I mean? You just have to
Yeah.
genuinely figure out whether that energy feels aligned from the beginning. Listen to your gut because your gut is
100.
always right.
Your gut is always right, and you can't hear it when you're all pushy
Nope.
and, like, in that, like, big I can't hear it when I'm in, like, that big, like, scarcity, masculine, like, "Oh my god, I must succeed." Like, I
Yep.
have to just settle into me, and then I can hear it.
And then you can hear it.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm obsessed with this brand that you're building. Tell me more about your products, and tell me and Adeline more about your
I
product
know.
and what you offer, and all these other amazing women out there who want to support you and want to hear more about it.
So Colby Cosmetics is gently inspired by my son Colby. So my son's name is
Oh.
Colby. My last name is Colby. Um, my son's not Colby Colby, by the way. He's Colby
Just a little
Wilson.
one. Got it. Was
But
wondering, but do you?
I always wanted to draw in my name into my brand. And then my son,
Mhm.
obviously, us deciding to name him Colby was just, that was just the right thing. So Colby Cosmetics obviously means a lot to me because I have really never designed my business around my name.
Mm.
And so it was really important for me to have a part of me be a part of the name. And so I love having products that I can easily grab in my makeup kit that are going to take me less than, I don't have to think about it when I'm doing my makeup. It's like I know that these things work. I have 5 products that are they're my ride or dies, and
Yes.
that's what I grab when I travel, when I quickly getting ready because I only have 10 minutes for myself. Those are the
Mhm.
products that I grab, and they are extremely reliable for me. So, because us moms, entrepreneurs, us busy women, we only have so much time for ourselves, and when we get time in front of the mirror, we have to like maximize. We have to
Yes.
have that efficient routine ready to go, right?
100%.
So when I initially started Colby Cosmetics, I thought like I have a lot of different inspirations from different smaller brands that I love and I followed over the years. BK Beauty being one of them. They're this she was a makeup artist located in Texas, and she developed I'm in Austin, Texas. She developed a brush brand, and her brushes are
Cool.
phenomenal. I actually use her same manufacturing company for my brushes. So initially I thought maybe I was going to do brushes and just stick with tools because there's no shelf life, no expiration on that. But as I started to work on the brushes and bring them in, I'm like, this is fun. How am I like, am I just going to be promoting other people's makeup? I'm like, no, I need to do makeup too.
Yeah.
So I after testing for a while, I decided to bring on a cleansing balm, which I was telling you about that I love.
So
That is
excited.
it's a one-stop shop to remove your makeup. I mean, even if you forget your normal cleanser, you can use the cleansing balm and it'll take all of your makeup off. And then I decided to create blush balms, multi-purpose blush balms. So we
Ooh.
have 7 colors suitable for all skin tones. Every single color looks good on every single skin tone. Long wearing, vegan, and cruelty free, so they're good for your skin. And you can use them in multiple ways. So you can use them on your cheeks, your eyes, or your lips.
Ooh.
Yes, those are,
And
I would just say, probably my favorite because I spent like 2 years testing and I was just back and forth and uncertain after giving the samples to friends and makeup artist friends of mine. They were like, "Kristi, you have to launch these. These are amazing."
oh, I
So
love that for
yeah.
you.
And the packaging's really cute. I just love it. And then I also have contour sticks. So it's the same formula as the
Please
color
teach me how to
bombs.
contour. Yeah.
Yes, and they're not like muddy undertone they're more like bronzing sticks. They have more of
Yes.
a bronzing hue to it, so it's a little more natural, and
Yes.
you can easily mess up your makeup with these, and you're not gonna be able to tell. They're just so user friendly, so really great to help define your face and add life and color and, sun-kissed look to your skin. And then I also have lip oils, which I just launched this last year, and they're grapeseed jojoba based lip oils. So they're plant based and they feel so great on the lips. I just like, I'm obsessed. I just want to put it on all day long. They punch of hydration. You can pair them with lip liners. You can pair them with our blush balms. Or
Oh,
you could
yeah.
just literally use them if you're like, your lips are chapped. Like they're kind of
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways of using it, a lot of reasons why you would want to just constantly put it on. We have 3 colors in those, and they're very sheer, so very natural, just a very light tint of color that they give to your lips.
Oh, I'm gonna order it all. I literally just want it all. That sounds so delightful and so manageable, but like so inspiring that you can I love that I can't mess up any of the blush ones so that I can just put anything on and like just have
Yes,
fun with it and just express myself. And I literally love lip oil. I love lip oil. And
I know. I can't get enough of it.
I'm working on washing my face at night.
You're one of
Oh,
those, huh?
uh-huh. I'm one of those. I'm like
Something
my
tells
head
me, though, you just have good genetics, so you're
uh
pretty lucky, but I'm
my
always
mom
like, Always
Yeah, my
everyone's like, "Well, what is your one makeup tip? Like, what would you recommend to everyone?" I'm like, "Make sure you take your makeup off at night, okay? Just wash your
er,
face." We're
yeah,
gonna send you the cleansing I'm gonna send you the cleansing
yes,
balm, okay? So
you're
you
gonna
have no
change my life.
excuses.
I promise I will do it. I have never I'm so bad about it. But now my daughter is like, "Mom, did you wash your face last night?" I was like, "I forgot. I went to bed. I chose to go to bed. How am I brushing my teeth, yet I won't sit down and take off my makeup?" I'm like, "That feels like too much." But now that I have this amazing cleansing balm, I'm gonna get after it,
Yep.
and my skin is gonna be so glowy and fresh.
It's gonna be so glowy and fresh, and it smells so good. It's just got the best
Oh,
it's got the most clean smell. I love it.
that
So,
sounds so nice.
yeah,
Okay,
it's really
so
great.
how do we buy these amazing things?
So we have a Shopify, colbycosmetic.com. I have to make sure I highlight that. Some like random a company in China has colbycosmetics.com. I don't even know
Isn't that
what
so
why.
annoying?
It's rude. I'm like, why?
It's
You
so rude.
would you really need colbycosmetics.com? What and it's like I don't even know what it is because it's all in Chinese. So
Yeah.
um when we were searching for the domain, we were like, okay, we'll settle for Colby Cosmetic. But once you start typing it in, if it becomes familiar on your computer, it'll pop
Right.
up and you'll know right away that that's us. And then I'm on TikTok, so you can always
Look
purchase an
at you.
order on TikTok as well as Instagram. So, but obviously, we always love when people support us from our Shopify because then you can write us a review, and we get to
Excellent.
we package it up really pretty for you. We send a nice little thank you card, and yeah, I love the packaging part of it. That was like my favorite part of
Yes.
creating all of this was choosing the colors and the branding. That was all so much fun, right up my alley. And the little creative eye. I have such an eye for color. It's color theory is like one of my favorite subjects, and I'm really good at
Ooh,
it.
that's cool.
So I just
Yeah.
understand color very well. So
Gosh, you are truly it's amazing. What I, love about your personality is as much as you are, like, type A, I'm driven, I get stuff done, like, you are truly an artist, and you
thank
don't
you.
see many people that crosses over where, you can be equal parts creative and driven. I think it's
Yeah.
really phenomenal, and look at all the things that you've done with it. You inspire young women, you have, made probably close to a bazillion women at this point feel confident and beautiful on their big days or their big moments or whatever it may be, from the pageant world to professional life to weddings to everything in between. And now you've launched your own brand. I think your story is remarkable.
Thank you so, so much, Betsy. That means a lot to me. And it just it you just saying that to me, it's like, okay, we don't need other people's validation, but it feels really good. It
Well,
does
take it
because
and put it in
I'm
your
hard on
pocket.
myself. It's like,
Yes.
have I accomplished enough, through this life? And although I do know I have, it's a lot of work, but I genuinely just love what I do. And I just genuinely want other people to feel good about themselves and having products that can, if you only have 5 minutes, you can throw this and this on and you immediately feel like a brand new person. It makes you feel better about yourself. So
Oh my God. I cannot
yeah.
wait to get my hands on all these things. I'm so excited.
Yay.
Okay. I love to wrap every single episode with some questions or just a question because I know we're getting short on time, but really focused on women supporting women. And so the question I wanted to ask you is what twists and turns has your life taken that have really shaped you? Maybe you saw them coming, maybe you didn't. And how has it all worked out?
I feel very closely connected actually to this question because I was growing up, in the pageants. I didn't have my dad around as much as I would have liked to. I had a relationship with him, but it was tricky because of my mom and my dad being not being together. So I didn't have a lot of that like parental fatherly love to tell me that I'm beautiful and that I'm
Mm,
confident and that like I don't need to be validated by another man. So I ran off and got married at 18 and then
mm,
spent 8 years of my life with a man who was wonderful in a lot of ways, but just didn't support me. He didn't believe in my goals, my aspirations. He thought it was silly that I wanted to be a makeup artist. And I mean, he was just really insecure. And that's a very normal, thing that you find. It's a common trend you find in men in relationships. And so when I had to really fight for what I believed that I was going to do. And I didn't know, obviously, marrying him, that was what I was gonna go through, but it really helped me step into my light and my path, my confidence of knowing, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I'm passionate about. So when that took a turn and things weren't working out and I went through that divorce, I very, very heartbroken and felt like,
Yes.
and especially because my father, the energy I just didn't have from there, I didn't have that confidence, I didn't have that validation from my dad. It was really hard for me to, focus on what my intention was. So I had to spend a lot of years like rebuilding myself, and I was doing that through other relations, dating other people and relationships instead of like taking the time to focus
Mhm.
on building what I had in front of me. Cause who knows how much sooner I would have been where I'm at if it wasn't for the need to have all of that validation, external validation from, another relationship coming into my life.
Yeah.
But I was very grateful because I did still continue the path of being a makeup artist and all the right things fell into my lap. And obviously like all of the things that were no's were the universe redirecting me into the right path so that way I can continue to work on myself, continue to build up what I needed to build up to be ready for this next step in my journey, which was to get married, have a baby, buy a house, start a business, another
Just
business,
a just a little
develop a
something,
cause.
something.
Yeah, and so I would have never have known that at such a young age because I was seeking so much outside
Yes.
of myself. So I hope that like my story and I hope that that perspective can draw in whatever it needs to draw in for maybe some of your younger listeners that
Yeah.
are in relationships and they're not sure or they're just like doing it because our society tells us we need to be married or whatever. I think a lot of that has changed, but I still think there's a lot of those younger girls that like haven't quite found themselves and what it is that they want to do. And I think that's so important to find for ourselves and like get solid on before we like jump into committing ourselves and our lives to another human being and having children. So,
100%.
and I'm so grateful I didn't. I mean, I could have easily just stayed and just did it and
Mhm.
then had kids and then who knows, you know what I mean? And there's nothing would have been wrong with that, but
Yeah.
I just always knew like no, there was a higher calling. And so I'm happy that I listened to that, but I was very much so in resistance to it for a very long time.
100%. And like, don't you feel like when you have to make those big pivots, it also, yes, it opens the door to let you step into your power and chase, and really pursue what is on your heart, but also like gives you the space to do the assignment to find your worth from within than it does
Yes.
from what was missing from home, which I think so many people can relate to.
I
Thank you so
know.
much for sharing that.
Yeah.
It is incredibly painful when it doesn't come from home to start as a young child. And then so many of us, all of us find ourselves chasing it externally when really you got to find it within before you can actually accept it or receive it wholeheartedly from anybody else. And
One
sometimes
it is
it's
it's like it could not be more like the proof is in the pudding with it. You hear so many stories similar maybe to mine or different in their own way, but with the same kind of foundational like choices that you make and they're all outside of yourself. And I just think for the younger generation and especially those who, when I get to mentor girls, I'm always like such an advocate like it's okay. Like I have girls that I mentor and then they mentor the other kids with me. So they're like
yeah,
kind of like training to be in a higher position and they're always talking to me about their relationships. And I'm like, listen, you don't need to get married at 24.
no,
You don't, just do whatever you want to do right now. These are the years for you to discover yourself and to really build up you. I'm like, what I would
yes.
give to understand what I know now then. But of course, it all happened beautifully. It's all perfect. It
Yeah,
really
it all
teaches us
works
to be
out.
resilient. So,
Yes. And to have faith that it will all
and have
work out
faith.
no matter
Yeah,
what. Hmm.
yep, exactly. So, yeah, I love that
Oh,
question.
thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
honestly, this conversation has been so inspiring and has filled me right up to the brim. And it's like, as I've said, I've had so many minutes. I was like, thank you. I needed to hear that. That was so
Oh,
self-serving without my
good.
intention, but I'll take that and put that in my pocket. Which
Yay.
is just one of the I'm having the time of my life making this podcast. And it is such an honor to be able to talk to all these amazing women, yourself very much included. And it has helped me grow in such a way. And it is such a beautiful form of connection that I was so deeply craving that I am so, so lucky to have. And like, I mean, truly, I get to collect these beautiful humans and have these amazing conversations. And today it just filled me right up to the brim. So thank you. I am so
You
glad for everything.
I think what you're doing is just so incredible and impactful for, at least our community of women, not just like women that are kind of in similar places in their lives like we are, but for the younger generations or even for the older generations that are just like seeing us evolve. It's very inspiring. And so I just feel so grateful that Juanita connected us. And I instantly, when I like looked at your page and everything that you were doing, I'm like, oh my gosh, sign me up. I'm like, this is my girl right here.
I literally could not be more obsessed. We're best friends now.
We're BFFs.
We're
Yes.
best
Thank
friends
you
now.
very
Yes.
much.
Literally. I can't wait to get unready.
We're going to get unready
Uh,
together.
it's going to be so fun. Oh my
Before
gosh.
you know
Wait
it,
till
I'm
you
going to be
meet.
coming into your studio.
Literally. I know. I was like, honest to God, please just come to Cincinnati and tell me how to do everything and bring all of your things. And I will have 75 11-year-olds and me.
Oh my gosh. We could do a little mini makeup masterclass.
Oh my God.
I
That
would
would be,
love that. Oh my gosh. My husband would be all over that too. Be like, babe, you've got to go do that.
oh my God. Okay. We're taking this offline. We're
Yes,
totally doing
yes,
it.
yes.
We're
We'll have to
totally
talk
doing
about it.
We could do like a mommy and me mini okay.
Yes.
Okay. It's
Yes.
happening.
I love
Amazing.
this. I don't
Oh,
have girls, okay? So it's like I have
yes.
this is like it feeds my soul, and in a way it's good that I don't have girls probably. I trust that that's right, but I'm also like, oh, like what I would give to have a daughter, you know what I mean?
Yes, well, mine, I am so blessed to have one with a big enough personality to lend to others as well, so I promise.
Perfect. Hand her
Yes,
over.
I will. She'll love every minute of it.
I love
Oh,
it.
you guys, this episode has been so inspiring. Really, just like despite whatever the beauty, the all the noise in the beauty category
Mhm.
and all the standards that come at us from all sorts of social and entertainment, et cetera, that the through line for me from this conversation has been that natural beauty is really truly what everybody is after, what everyone
Mhm.
values, what is most important to value about yourself, and how that it shines from the inside out. And to have faith in this younger generation and that they really are all hyping each other up and exploring these things in a really like beautiful, creative way. And then from an entrepreneurship perspective, again, to just continue to lean into what brings you joy and what gives you gifts and what your natural talents are, and just continue to slowly expand and look at and when you turn around and look back, you're like, oh my God, that's the path that I got to walk. Think of all the amazing things that you've been doing. And I hope this makes everyone take pause and turn around and look at all the amazing things that they have done in their life and give themselves that credit so that they can then turn back forward and keep going.
Yes. Yes. We've got to pat ourselves on the back and trust
Yes,
that we're right where we're supposed to be. And we've done so
100%.
much.
Yes, we sure have.
So
Oh,
true.
Kristi, this has just been an absolute blast. Thank you
I
so
know.
much.
Thank you,
Everyone,
Betsy.
go follow her. Can you tell us quickly your social handles so we can come
Yes.
find you?
Yes. So I have two Instagrams. I have the Makeup Box CA, and that's my makeup services platform. And then Colby Cosmetic is at Colby Cosmetic for Instagram and Colby Cosmetics on TikTok. Sorry, I know it's a little
Amazing.
confusing.
Oh, you know what? Everyone's so
Just
savvy,
type
they'll
in
all
Colby
figure it out.
Cosmetic and you'll find me.
Yes, 100%. Awesome. Okay, you guys go check it out. I can't wait to get my Colby Cosmetics in my hands. My face is gonna be so clean.
Oh, it is. It's gonna be squeaky clean, ready for makeup.
You're ready for makeup. Totally. All right, you guys. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.